What if everything you learned about money was wrong? That's not a rhetorical question or clickbait. Drop whatever image comes up when you hear the word money. No, really? Take a breath. Imagine, just for this moment, that everything you were told, by your parents, your teachers, everyone you've trusted, inspired by tradition, repeated over kitchen tables or in the late-night glow of desk lamps, imagine that all of it missed the most basic, foundational truth. What if wealth had little to do with luck, hard work, or even intelligence, but everything to do with the energy you broadcast every day? Would you keep playing the same financial game the same old way if you knew the rules were utterly different from what you'd believed? Let's explore. Imagine your life is a movie, and you, the main character, had been handed an invisible script at birth. On it are the lines you say, the stories you tell, the roles you play. Your lines about money, about not having enough, about deservingness, about struggle aren't really yours. They were scribbled in the margins long before you ever knew whose voice was whose. Work hard for every dime. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. Easy come, easy go. These are not just phrases. They are spells, living, breathing, insistent energies that shape your world. When you were a child, you were an antenna, soft, porous, ready to absorb. You absorbed your parents' worries about the bills, their arguments about spending, their sighs at tax time. You absorbed the lessons at school. Get good grades, get a job, save, maybe one day retire. Survival disguised as wisdom. The system, well-meaning or not, imprinted upon your subconscious a blueprint for relationship with money, not as friend or ally, not as a neutral current, but as a source of anxiety, proof of worth, a thing you chase and rarely catch. You grew up inside a maze that no one questioned, surrounded by invisible walls built from collective belief. Now, what's the truth? Money is not just paper or coins, not just a number in your bank app, not just an amount you earn per hour or month. At its core, money is nothing but energy. It is, in a real sense, a frequency, a vibration. Like a current or a song or a scent on the breeze, it's invisible but undeniable. You can't see love or the warmth of laughter, yet you feel them without question. Money is the same, a symbol, a token, yes, but more truly an experience, a flow, an agreement that lives and breathes in the spaces between people. This is not New Age wishful thinking. You already know deep down that effort doesn't equal reward. How many people do you know who work themselves to the bone, who hustle, struggle, break their backs, and still barely make it? How many spend years climbing ladders only to stay in the same place? If hard work alone created wealth, the hardest working people would be the wealthiest. But look around. Who has the most resources? It's not those grinding the longest hours. It's those who, for better or worse, hold a different relationship to money. They think differently. They expect differently. They receive differently. Here is the truth, raw and unvarnished. Money responds to energy, not to your visible effort, not to your sweat, but to your underlying vibration. Your beliefs, quiet, persistent, most of them inherited, form the signal you send. If you believe deep down that money is a struggle, that it's for other people, that seeking it makes you selfish or greedy or unworthy, then no matter how desperately you toil, your results will circle back endlessly to that original broadcast. So let's turn inward. This is not about positive thinking. It's about understanding that your subconscious programming, installed in the first 7 years of your life, runs nearly all adult behavior. It's like being an actor in a play written by someone else, always reciting the lines but never changing the narrative. Ask yourself, do I see money as easy or hard, safe or dangerous? Am I always bracing for its loss or expecting its arrival? Like attracts like. This is not just a catchphrase, it's a description of how energy works, how reality takes shape around us. If you're perpetually running, feeling like money is always slipping through your fingers, the culprit is not laziness or lack of intelligence or even the economy. It's the invisible, inherited operating system in your mind. And here's what matters most. Operating systems can be rewritten. Energy can shift. Frequencies can be tuned, like an artist adjusting a radio dial until the music comes through clear and strong. Picture a radio. If you want classical symphonies but your dial is tuned to static or country, it doesn't matter how long you listen. You can wish, you can beg, but until you turn the dial, you'll never hear Mozart. Your financial reality works the same way. Tune the dial to abundance, and abundance will find you, often through channels you never imagined. Tune it to lack, and scarcity becomes your background music, no matter how hard you try. Take a step back. Money in the modern world isn't even real in the way we imagine. It's not just dollars or paper. It's not backed by gold in a vault as it was a generation ago. In fact, money as we know it is entirely, completely an act of shared faith, a consensus hallucination that gains power only because everyone acts as if it's true. If every person on Earth woke up tomorrow and decided to ignore money, to see it as valueless, the system would collapse in an instant. Money fundamentally is belief. So why do your beliefs matter so much? Because your subconscious mind is the vault where these beliefs live and multiply. For most people, their real beliefs about wealth, what's possible, what's dangerous, what's for someone like me, were given to them, not chosen. The child whose parents always struggled for money learns wordlessly that money is meant to be scarce, just out of reach. The child whose community resents those who are rich learns to keep themselves small, to reject money even as they crave it, for fear of becoming unloved or an outsider. These beliefs become the foundation on which every financial action is built. Break the spell. See this inheritance for what it is, a story, not destiny. You are not the stories told about you. The spell of scarcity is thick, woven into the fabric of our culture, reinforced by media, advertising, even well-meaning advice. It's the voice that says, don't get your hopes up, times are tough, you'll never get ahead. But you can pierce it with awareness. When you become aware, truly in your bones, of the patterns you're repeating, not because they're true, but because they're familiar, you can choose anew. It isn't easy. It requires standing up to voices, both internal and external, that insist things can't change. But awareness is the first key. Choice is the second. And choice repeated becomes destiny. Money, after all, is neutral. It isn't evil. It isn't holy. It has no agenda. Yet it is a powerful amplifier. It makes the kind more generous, the fearful more anxious, the loving more expansive, the greedy more obsessed. If you think money is dangerous, you will unconsciously push it away, squander it, or fear it. If you believe money is a tool, a blessing, a servant to your highest values, it will circulate towards you, eager to amplify your light. Now, close your eyes. Picture money not as a static thing, but a flowing river, endlessly circulating. It's called currency for a reason. The root is the Latin currere, meaning to run, to flow. A river that stagnates, that is dammed up or hoarded out of fear, grows toxic. It breeds nothing but decay. But a river that flows, gifting its water to the fields and forests, returns, replenished over and over. This is the law of circulation, one of the hidden laws of wealth, rarely taught, but universally true. If you've been trained to clutch every dollar, to spend only what's necessary, to give only from a place of guilt or obligation, notice how quickly your river dries up. When you give, when you tip, donate, pay bills with a blessing in your heart, support artists you love, not out of fear of lack, but from trust, from overflow, you signal to the universe, I trust in more, I'm a channel. This confidence activates abundance. Your supply grows, the river widens. It is not what you keep, but what you circulate that builds lasting wealth. Just as you inhale and exhale a rhythm as old as life itself, so must money move in and out. The exhale makes space for the inhale. Trust this. How, you ask, do you actually shift your frequency? How do you rewrite the subconscious script when it feels so ingrained? This isn't about repeating affirmations until your voice grows hoarse. This is about ritual, about claiming your power in small daily ways. Each morning before the world's noise seeps in, stand in stillness. Plant your feet on the earth or the floor or wherever you are. Breathe and declare aloud, I command my energy back. I am safe to receive. I am ready to hold more. These are not magic words. They are intentions that signal your readiness to your mind, your nervous system, and to the wider fabric of reality. Next, move through your day with your standards held high. Say no to what drains and depletes you. Work, people, habits, unloving self-talk. Treat your time as sacred. Your hours are your offering to life. The more you value yourself, the more value is reflected back to you. Notice your words, for words carve grooves in your subconscious. Swap out the phrase, I can't afford it, for wealth is finding me now, or I'm open to creative possibilities. Yes, it may feel silly at first, but words are seeds. Plant truth, not weeds. Look around your physical environment. Is your space cluttered and chaotic? Are your belongings old, broken, or reminders of struggle? Your environment is a mirror of your mind. Clear your space, open a window, discard or donate what no longer serves. Arrange your home with love as if you are already wealthy, already blessed. This signals readiness, and the universe loves readiness. At night, before sleep blends you into dreams, imagine yourself already abundant. See, and most importantly, feel yourself surrounded by not just money, but freedom, peace, joy, opportunities. Don't just wish, inhabit this inner world as if it were already outside you. In that liminal space between waking and sleep, your subconscious is wide open. Plant your intentions then. It's easy to make abundance only about numbers in a bank account, the visible prize. But wealth comes in 1,000 nuanced forms. It's the free coffee from a friend, the happiness in a moment of beauty, the opportunity that finds you when you least expect it, a stranger's unexpected kindness, or simply the serenity of knowing you are safe, protected, provided for. If you see wealth as only cash, you become spiritually impoverished, even as invisible blessings shower down. What you recognize expands. What you neglect contracts. So start tracking non-wealth, write it down, celebrate it, honor it. Watch how quickly material wealth follows, drawn to the expanded field of gratitude and awareness you've built. There are sages who have walked this path before. Neville Goddard, a mystic of the last century, taught that your imagination is not just fantasy, but a creative force, divine in its potency. Your imagination is God, he would say, meaning the world incarnates your assumptions, your internal images, your inner knowing. You do not get what you want, he taught, but what you are. To live from the end is to feel the wish fulfilled before it arrives, and so set in motion the invisible currents that will bring reality to match your inner state. You don't chase after wealth, you assume its reality, internally, and the external world bends to that inner script. Another teacher, Ernest Holmes, showed how your mind is the access point to infinite source. Your thoughts are creative agencies, shaping substance as surely as a sculptor shapes clay. Wealth is a state you command by aligning yourself to its frequency, by consciously shifting your inner climate, by making space for more. You don't create things per se, you create the conditions for things to appear, by tuning yourself as deliberately as a cellist tunes her strings. Now let's ground this. There's nothing mystical about what you're learning, even if it sounds poetic. Your brain, like all brains, is a pattern-finding organ, constantly comparing what appears out there to what it already knows in here. What you expect, be it loss or gain, struggle or surprise, will be registered by your nervous system as safe. You will act unconsciously and repeatedly to preserve this sense of safety, even if it keeps you small or struggling. This is why continually expecting poverty or preparing for disaster becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your mind, devoted to maintaining its known reality, keeps you locked in place through fear or distraction. Breaking free from this cycle is not about slogging through pain, nor about denying reality. It's about acknowledging your hidden inheritance and actively, consciously choosing again. You were never meant to bow to money as if it's a god or a gatekeeper. Money is meant to serve, not to rule over you. You are not on earth to grind for scraps, to beg for crumbs at someone else's table. You are here to step into overflow, to live with enough and more, so that your talents and gifts can flourish and serve the wider world without fear of lack. Pause for a moment. Imagine living that way. Not waiting, not hoping, not bargaining with yourself or the world. Imagine living the next 7 days as if your wealth were inevitable, as if the universe were a friendly partner conspiring for your success. What would you do differently? Whom would you help? What would you create? How would you speak to your children, your partner, yourself? This is not delusion. This is rehearsal for a new script, and your subconscious favors repetition. When you act as if you are wealthy in mind and spirit, the chemistry of your body shifts, your choices shift, even your posture, and over days, weeks, months, your reality gradually, then suddenly, tips into a new orbit. Let's consider the practicalities. For some will say, doesn't the world have real obstacles? Of course, there is injustice, inequality, broken systems. But within these constraints, there are always outliers. Those who rise, those who become magnets for opportunities, resources, networks. What sets them apart? Not always luck, not always a genius-level IQ, but a capacity to see and claim abundance, to rewrite their beliefs at the root level, and to step forward again and again despite resistance, acting from trust rather than fear. Look at the stories that saturate our culture, the rags-to-riches tales, the self-made millionaires and billionaires. The lesson to extract isn't that you must become a tycoon or devote yourself to endless hustle. The deeper lesson is that reality bends around unshakable belief. If you believe you are meant for more, your mind finds evidence to make it true. Your questions shift from can I or should I to how will I? What's possible now? What would it feel like to let life surprise me? These are abundant questions. Scarcity questions, by contrast, focus on limitation, on rationing joy, on postponing life for a future no one is guaranteed. This does not mean you never experience fear. It means you feel fear and act anyway, shifting not merely your thoughts but your state, your very presence. Take Elizabeth, a real woman who grew up in poverty, surrounded by warnings about extravagance and waste. She heard, day in and day out, that nice things are for other people, that we just get by, that's enough. As an adult, those scripts ruled her choices, deferring joy, shrinking away from opportunities, sabotaging when success came too close. One day, she encountered the concept that money is energy, not a measure of worth. She began, hesitantly at first, to affirm abundance, to give small amounts freely, to invest in herself, to clear her space with intention. Within a year, opportunities arose, unexpected gigs, new friends, a chance to train in a field she'd dreamed about but avoided. Her income doubled, but more profoundly, her sense of self expanded. For the first time in my life, she said, I wasn't surviving, I was living. Apply this to your own life. Examine the stories you repeat, the advice you accept without question. Are they keeping you small? Are they empowering? You are the steward of your mind, you and no one else. Choose rituals that anchor you in abundance, not as a gimmick, but as a daily practice. This might look like keeping a wealth journal, noting every sign of abundance, material or spiritual, that finds you. It might be a morning meditation, a conscious retelling of your money story, a daily act of generosity. Small ripples create big waves. Circulation, remember, is not just about giving for giving's sake, nor foolish spending. It is releasing from trust, knowing more will arrive. It's choosing to circulate love, thanks, resources, even a compliment. Every act of circulation carves a new groove in your brain. A groove not of fear, but faith. Over time, this becomes your new baseline. From this state, money, opportunities, miracles rush to you. Not because you deserve them in the old sense, but because your field, your frequency, is receptive, commanding, magnetic. Dive deeper into the spiritual side of wealth, a topic quietly hushed or actively avoided in most circles. Some fear that embracing abundance means courting greed or pride. But what if the opposite were true? What if poverty is not a virtue but a distortion? What if your flourishing fuels the flourishing of others? When you overflow, you can give more: time, resources, love. You become an example, a beacon, a reminder of what's possible. In truth, the poor cannot help the poor. Only the resourced can uplift others. If guilt arises when you think of receiving more than enough, notice it with compassion. This guilt, like any learned emotion, is a remnant of old programming, meant to keep you safe, acceptable, humble in the eyes of those who fear change. But healthy, soulful wealth is not about superiority or excess. It's about wholeness. Overflow from this state naturally circulates, creating ripples of good. Consider the metaphors present everywhere. Money as water, as current, as breath, as light. Wherever you notice flow, be it in nature, relationships, or creativity, know that this is how all abundance wants to move in your life. When you contract, hoard, clench in fear, you interrupt the current. When you open, release, trust, you become a vessel, easily filled, easily poured, always replenished. Some may wonder, isn't this all just law of attraction, magically wishing for money? No, this is the law of attunement, the law of the harvest. You sow what you are, not what you merely wish for. Life answers your dominant state, not your fleeting desires. That's why repetition matters. The mind resists change at first, then adapts, then adopts. You are at every moment broadcasting an energetic signature by your beliefs, your speech, your very posture in the world. Are you a transmitter of lack or of possibility? Do you show up to life as a beggar or as a king? This is not about ego or arrogance, but about self-honoring, about recognizing your inborn authority as a creator. You can hasten this process with deliberate rituals. Each morning, rise and ask yourself, what would a wealthy version of me do today? It might be something small, making your bed with pride, preparing a meal with care, sending a message of gratitude. Each act, performed as if you are already blessed, increases your capacity to hold and to circulate. Revisit your old stories. When you catch yourself saying, "It's too expensive," gently reframe. Other ways for abundance to find me exist, even if I can't see them right now. Instead of "money is always tight," try "I'm learning to allow greater flow every day." The brain loves repetition. It loves agreement. Over time, new grooves form, new programs run. Give even when not asked. A small amount, a gesture, a kind word. When you bless others, when you circulate energy, you demonstrate trust in infinite supply. Notice how the mind protests. What if I run out? And yet, what if generosity is the lever that opens the next gate? Physical space matters. A cluttered home reflects a cluttered mind, unable to welcome in abundance. Tidy, organize, beautify even the smallest corner. Imagine you were already wealthy. How would you keep your space? How would you dress, eat, greet the day? These acts signal self-worth, which the world meets in kind. At night, when the world quiets, practice living from the end. Close your eyes. Imagine in rich detail your life as you wish it to be, not in the distant future, but now. See the evidence. More importantly, feel it in your bones. Your subconscious cannot tell the difference between reality and a sustained, vivid inner experience. It will begin, quietly and then obviously, to arrange outer life to match the inner blueprint. Remember, wealth is invisible too. It's the peace in your heart, the opportunities that come unbidden, the protection from unseen harm, the reservoir of health, time, love. If you ignore these forms, longing only for money, you miss out on true abundance. Track and celebrate every kind of blessing. Write them down, thank them aloud, share them. The more you notice, the more arrives. The teachings of Neville Goddard and Ernest Holmes are neither religion nor superstition, but tools of transformation. Imagination is the womb of creation. Mind is the axis around which experience turns. Assume wealth, expect support, experiment with possibility, act from confidence, and notice the shift within days, weeks, a year. You were never meant to be ruled by money. It is not your master, but your servant, your tool. You are not here to survive, to accept scraps, to obey unfair systems as if they are laws of nature. You are here to reclaim, to recover your birthright as a steward of abundance, a player of the infinite game. When you remember this, the system's spell breaks. Try this experiment. For the next 7 days, live as if it is already done. Smile at your own reflection. Speak kindly to yourself. Bless your money as it comes and goes. Look for wealth in all its disguises. Reach out, give, share, create. Trust, even when afraid. Notice what changes. If fear or doubt shout, thank them for trying to protect you, and act anyway. Say, "I am rich," not as future prophecy, but as present declaration. I am rich now, before evidence arises. Your subconscious responds to boldness. It waits for your decision. Your environment will echo your signal. To sum up, the hidden laws of wealth are not hidden at all. They are merely drowned out by noise. Money is not real, belief is. Money is not scarce, flow is everywhere. Money does not serve those who are desperate. It meets those who honor themselves and circulate with trust. Every ritual, every new thought, every act of generosity is a turning of the dial, a rewriting of the script. What you seek is seeking you. That is the final revelation. Live as if it is true, just for 1 week. Let reality catch up. Let energy lead. Money is energy, and your energy is the password. If you're ready to break the cycle, to write a new code, declare it now. I am rich. Not someday. Not when it finally feels true. Now, because choice is the creator and belief is the bloodstream of reality, your upgrade starts today.